Hello and welcome to The Recipe, brought to you by Filippo Berio. I'm your host, Theo Randall, chef patron at Theo Randall Cucina Italiana. In today's episode, we have a real treat. My guest is a chef who's taken the cooking world by storm with his delicious dishes that cost less than £1 per portion. He's an Instagram sensation and the author of several best-selling £1 meal cookbooks. Please welcome to the show, Miguel Barclay. So Miguel, welcome to The Recipe.
Thank you.
So this show's all about meaningful dishes. What dish are you going to show us today?
Right, today I'm going to go with a dish that means a lot for me. This is how I sort of broke into the industry. And it's sort of like a cheats Katsu curry.
A cheats Katsu curry?
It's got a weird sauce. At the time, I didn't really know what I was doing. I put some stuff together and it worked. I didn't ask any questions, stuck it on Instagram. Basically got the easiest Katsu curry you're ever going to make.
And why is it so easy? I mean,
so I did a biochemistry degree, so I'm always into fiddling around with stuff.
You're so talented.
Yeah. So I was like, how can I make a Katsu curry sauce without doing any of the effort? So I got a little bit of flour, a little bit of curry powder, a little bit of water, and sort of mixed it in a pan. It was basically a little bit like a roux, and then you add like some soy sauce and some honey for a bit of sweetness. I didn't know what was going to happen, and it turned into a lovely Katsu curry sauce.
So you're famous for cooking dishes that don't cost very much to produce. So, I mean, what part of the chicken did you use?
I went with the chicken thigh, and apart from maybe scraping the meat off a wing, like that's the cheapest
There ain't much on a wing.
yeah, exactly. But this was 10 years ago, so the dish probably came in at about, I don't know, 60, 70p.
Fantastic. So when you went on Instagram and you did this recipe, it got picked up by ITV This Morning.
Yeah.
And you went on the show.
Well, originally I didn't want my face associated with any of this stuff I was doing because I had like a sensible career doing e-commerce stuff. So basically I hid behind this @1poundmeals Instagram handle and didn't say who I was or anything. And then this woman from This Morning just kept phoning me. And I kept going, no, I don't want to do it, please. And
they never go.
Yeah, she was like, no, like this is This Morning. Like, why don't you want to do it? And I was like, and then finally I crumbled. And then she got me on the show. I was still a little bit embarrassed and shy about it. So I put on these fake glasses, gelled my hair to the side. I had a really close show. It's all on the internet somewhere. You can find it on YouTube somewhere. So I basically went in disguise, like Clark Kent does. And
yeah.
I wanted there to be enough doubt in people's mind that it might not be me.
But there's a funny story behind this, because didn't you like bunk off work or something?
Yeah, so obviously no one even knew I was doing it. So I said that I had a dental appointment.
Brilliant. Always works, a dental appointment.
Yeah. I went and cooked it. But I didn't know anything about how this worked. So I had a backpack with a load of like kitchen utensils. I had frying pans, everything in my backpack. Turned up at This Morning. You had to get there ridiculously early because it's a morning show. And they were like, well, why have you turned up with all this stuff? Like, we're like a £1 million show. Like, we've got cooking utensils you can borrow. Then I cooked it and then went home, thought nothing of it. And then I started getting loads of offers for book deals.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just from that one show?
All from that one show.
Did you think at any point that, that going viral, I mean, obviously it was on your Instagram, you're very big on Instagram, but that made you think, well, actually, can I do this for a living?
You know what, it was the book deal, because I was like, back then, brand deals didn't really exist. Like the word influencer hadn't been invented back then. So I remember the first time I heard the word influencer, and that was a couple of years later. So there was no way to make a living out of posting recipes on the internet.
Yeah, sure.
But the book deal, I was like, oh yeah, maybe I could do something with this. And then I ended up writing, I think, probably up to 8 or 9 books now.
But having looked at your books, I mean, you're really ahead of the game, because, I mean, so many cookbooks now are all about having a recipe and a photograph. You did that 10 years ago.
The way that my brain works is that I won't read a recipe unless the photograph's there. So you can get these cookbooks that don't have photos, and I just skip past those pages and I go to the photos. So the way I read a recipe book is I look at the photo and then I look at the ingredients, and I don't normally read the thing because I can sort of work out what's happened.
You need to be inspired. I mean, a cookbook's all about being inspired by the recipe, and I think there are so many cookbooks when you have 70% of the recipes photographed and the rest not, and I'm convinced no one cooks the 30% of the recipes.
No. Like, why? Yeah, like they don't even read them. Like a lot of people just flick. Like I use cookbooks like coffee table books.
Yeah.
So I just flick through the pictures and go, oh, that's nice. I just like looking at pictures of food.
So the £1 meals really took off, and then so that was your first book, and then how many books have you done since then?
I think I'm up to 8, and then maybe 9 because there are some books where they've got 2 and they've combined them together and done exclusives, and then they've done a student cookbook where they took the studenty ones from the previous books. So I think I'm up to 9, potentially 10.
Wow. I mean, that's a lot of cookbooks to write. But, you know, I think the thing is also the recipes are actually very achievable. They're not complicated, but they're very tasty.
But it makes it easier to write. So
of course.
I can write a cookbook in 6 weeks because the recipes only have 5 or 6 ingredients. And the way I cook is very simple, very easy, very lazy. So it suits me better to write in that style, and people really love it. Like, it's easy everyday cooking stuff you can do at home on a weekday.
But I think, you know, if you've got a recipe that is in the price range you're talking about, below £1, you're going to be quite limited. I mean, you must have ways of doing that. I mean, obviously you can buy in bulk or you can buy sort of frozen produce, but what's your tip for buying a food? Because it is so much more expensive than it used to be.
Well, I've evolved a little bit from back then. So back then, there were big bits of meat on the plate, and then now it's small bits of meat. So what I'm doing is I'm doing like fried rices with a little bit of meat that's chopped up and mixed in there, or I could do like a pasta dish where the sauce just has a little bit of meat that runs through the dish. So I don't know, imagine you wanted to do, I don't know, like a pasta with some mackerel on it. You don't need a full portion of mackerel. You can have like a quarter of a portion and have that sort of crumbled into the sauce or something. And that's how I do it at the moment.
And it's kind of nice because you've got a real mixture. You've got fish, meat. You've got it's not vegan. It's sort of you're not trying to be something. You're just trying to do really good food at affordable prices.
Yeah, got loads of like aubergine dishes for some reason. For some reason, aubergine is it just features heavily in all of my cookbooks. But I think it's because it's got like a meaty texture to it.
Yeah.
So. And it's quite cheap, so it's a great little substitute. That and mushrooms.
I love your aubergine parmigiana recipe because it's just like a whole aubergine sliced, baked with tomato and mozzarella. I mean, that couldn't be easier.
Well, it hits all my favourite food groups. I like the little bit, because you get a bit of acidity from the tomatoes, and it balances the dish, and then you get a bit of luxury from the cheese. And then you get a little bit of meatiness from the aubergine.
I think they're great. And I think the fact that you can cook them so quickly and they're a great price is really inspiring. Really inspiring.
Yeah, thanks.
So let's get more inspired. Let's go and let's see what we're going to cook today. Let's cook this katsu curry.
Cool, right, let's do it.
Okay, stage 1. Where do we start with the katsu curry?
Right, what's going to take the longest is the rice.
Yeah.
So if you pop that in the pan.
Well, I'm always on rice.
It's the most difficult thing for
It's true.
So a lot of people don't know how to cook it. So you can make it easy with just 1 part rice, 2 parts water, whack a lid on it, and then you forget about it.
And just straight in, just rice and water?
Yeah, you can put a little bit of salt if you want, but you don't even have to. And rice is really important. If you're eating on a budget, rice is your friend.
Yeah, of course. So and it's good for you as well.
Exactly, and it's like 1/10 of the price of a potato.
Now, the thing that I think people find hard to deal with is the breadcrumbs, so the pane.
Okay.
So we've got flour, we've got eggs, we've got breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
Okay, first thing you got to do is you've got to season it.
Right.
So you've got to season the flour, and you've got to season the breadcrumbs. Now, there's quite a few breadcrumbs here, so it looks like I'm putting in a lot of salt, but that is how much you need.
Okay.
And then give it a little bit of a mix. Now, without this salt, it is going to taste bland. So if you can crack a couple of eggs in there.
Yeah.
So the eggs give it the wetness so everything sticks to it.
And then you've got chicken thigh there, which I personally love. I mean, I think chicken thigh is so much nicer and tastier than chicken breast. Is that because of cost, or is it just because of flavour?
It's a cost thing.
Yeah.
But flavour-wise, it is a tastier cut.
And did you do anything to prepare that? Did you like flatten it, or did you just?
No. So if you have a look here, it is a little bit thicker on one side than the other.
Yeah.
But the way you combat that is you just cook it on a medium heat. But what you don't want is the breadcrumbs to burn before the inside is cooked. Okay, so we're going to pop this into here.
Yeah. There's a theory to this that you only use one hand, isn't there? Because if you use both hands, you get everything completely covered.
I'm even lazier, so I use the tongs.
Yeah.
So look, I'm going to get away here without having to wash my hands. And the key is make sure it's completely covered in the egg.
Yeah.
So completely covered in the flour, completely covered in the egg,
Yeah.
and then completely covered in the crumbs.
Just keep turning it so all that egg sticks.
Okay. A little bit of heat on the pan.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of oil. And then we want probably 0.5 centimetres worth of oil. So let's say 3 millimetres.
3 millimetres. I'll get my rule.
From my biochemistry days.
Yeah. It must be quite useful coming with cooking.
You know what? There are some real similarities. And then I'm just going to let it heat up a little bit before I put it in, because I like to hear a little bit of a sizzle just to know that it's all working.
So while that oil is heating up, I want to ask you a question about going from being a biochemist to being a £1 meal wonder. Did you want to get out of being a biochemist, or was it just something that just happened?
No, there was a route. So basically, it went from biochemistry to computer stuff,
right,
and then into cooking. So what I realised was, I didn't go to Oxford or Cambridge. So yeah, I was a biochemist, but I was like bottom rung of the ladder. And then I was like, well, look, I always wanted to cure cancer or do something like that. And it became very apparent that I'm not going to be the guy to do that. There were some really, really, really clever people. So yeah, I'm clever in the grand scheme of the world, but in the biochemistry world, I was bottom rung of the ladder. So I got out of that, got into computers, and then got into cooking. Now we're going to go in with our chicken. You can see we've got a little bit of sizzle there.
Yeah.
And then we want to turn it down a bit.
Because we don't want to burn the breadcrumbs, do we?
Exactly.
Yeah. I love the fact that it's chicken thigh.
Oh, look at that.
I think there is so delicious chicken thigh.
That is lovely.
And your
rice...
rice...
We've really got to turn this down, though.
So how are we looking at the rice?
Yeah. Keep going. I can still see some water in there.
You want it to go quite dry.
Yeah.
You're so relaxed. I mean, it's so lovely hearing you talk about food. So many chefs are like, oh, no, you've got to turn it off at this point. You know, you really are just...
Even if it is a bit wet, it's not going to ruin the meal.
Yeah, of course it's not.
Yeah, right, now we're going to get onto the weird part.
Okay, so this is the bit I really want to know, because this sounds very fascinating.
Okay, right. So, this is weird.
So this is just plain flour?
Tablespoon of plain flour.
Yeah.
And then probably 1/2 tablespoon of curry powder.
Just curry powder, nothing else?
Just curry powder. So there's no salt, there's no nothing in this. A little bit of oil. You can use sesame oil if you want.
Yeah.
And
this is your favourite spatula. You bought this.
I don't understand how people can cook without a rubber spatula. So everything I do involves this spatula. So this has come from my house.
I love that. I mean, we all have a favourite gadget, but having a rubber spatula, I've never heard of having a favourite.
Yeah, but look, can you see how it smears it to the perfect consistency?
Well, it's perfect as well, because you're not scratching the pan, and there's nothing worse than scratching non-stick pans, is there?
Oh, exactly. Non-stick pans in my house only last about a year.
Yeah.
So every Christmas, I get new non-stick pans. So we've got a little bit of a paste going on here, and we sort of cooking it out a little bit.
I'm being a bit chefy here, sorry.
Yeah, okay. I don't do that at home.
I know you don't.
Okay, and then a little splash of water, and then it's going to look like you've ruined it. So right now you're thinking, I'm not going to eat that. But you just got to persevere, little by little. Don't put too much water in.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it goes lumpy.
And you're cooking the flour out to get rid of that taste of raw flour.
Exactly. And you're awakening the curry powder spice.
But also your rubber spatula is essential for this, because you're pushing it down so it's not going to go lumpy.
Yeah, exactly. It's a different way of whisking.
Yeah.
Call it squashing.
Squashing.
It's an alternative to whisking, yeah. You just keep doing this until you get the consistency that you like.
Yeah. I love this sort of relaxed feel about cooking. It seems so stress-free.
Exactly. Because we could, if we were doing this properly, sweat down vegetables, get a blender.
Shallots, your celery.
Exactly. So we'll rest those up a little bit.
So crisp.
I know. Because at the end of the day, texture is important.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
So many people talk about flavour and seasoning, but actually texture is as important as seasoning and flavour. Because I always said, when you eat pasta and you have pasta that's overcooked, it's got no texture to it and it just doesn't taste nice. And I think it's really important to have that little bite in the pasta.
Exactly, and I like sort of like the end bits that are a little bit sort of caught the heat.
The crispy bits.
Yeah, so if you have like a pasta bake, like the bits at the edge, that's the bits that I like.
Well, the famous chef Massimo Bottura has on his menu, he's had it on since day one, a lasagna dish. And they don't sell the lasagna, they just serve the crispy bits on the outside. And his point is that when he was a kid, he loved the idea of having the lasagna. The best bit was that crispy bit where it's got stuck or slightly burnt.
100%, that's exactly what.
And it's what everyone craves.
Yeah. And you know, with the bottom of the paella, the sacco.
Yes.
Yeah. Lovely. So look, we've got a consistency that's almost getting there.
Yeah.
And then
here comes the magic. Okay. So
a little bit of honey, so that's for the sweetness.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of soy sauce.
So that soy sauce is essentially just giving it plenty of salt and flavour.
So it's hitting all those flavour notes that you'd expect. And it's a really important part of the dish, to be honest.
Of course. Get those last little lumpy bits out.
Yeah, but again,
Doesn't
not
matter.
going to be too precious
Doesn't
about
matter.
it.
No.
So
I'm not worried about it.
Grab a little spoon
Yeah.
and just have a little taste and just see.
God, that's really good. It's kind of sweet, but not over sweet. And it's got that sort of salty soy sauce that kind of brings it all together.
And you get more than enough salt from the soy sauce. So we didn't have to salt it at the beginning.
Yeah.
And that, on that chicken with that rice, is just going to pull the whole recipe together.
And it doesn't taste like, you know how you taste curry powder sometimes and it's really overpowering?
Yeah.
That works really nicely.
Yeah. Beautiful. Right, let's plate it up.
Let's plate it up.
First we go on with a little bit of rice, and you can use any rice you want. Right, next thing we need to do, cut that at an angle. We want to go like they do at that famous restaurant that serves this all the time. Look at that. Okay, then a little bit of sauce. Beautiful. A little bit of garnish.
Bit of spring onion.
And here we go.
Wow, this looks delicious. I just love crispy chicken and rice, so I'm going to tuck in. It was such a delight cooking with you because I think your style and the simplicity of it, without being fussy.
And show you just how relaxed you can be.
Yeah.
Because you probably can't believe that you can be that blasé about it and still cook food. But you can, because this is home cooking. So this is how I react at home. I'm not like hunched over the stove stressing about stuff at home. I'm just throwing a few things in a few pans, relaxing, running off to do this, coming back. And this is my style of food.
And it's delicious. And it's so nice. I mean, all your cookbooks are all about this kind of food, which I love. And I think the nice thing is it's teaching a generation how to cook. You know, you can get this on, you know, any kind of delivery. Yeah, and this just tastes so much better and so much different because it's freshly made.
Yeah. And if you look at the ingredients, the list of the ingredients, there's nothing weird on there. It's rice, chicken, bread, flour. The only thing that's sort of had a little bit of process is the soy sauce.
Yeah.
And then the curry powder is a mix of a few different curry powders. But other than that, it's just raw ingredients that are sold separately as they are.
And it tastes really clean. I just feel like I'm eating something that's fresh and it's healthy for me. And I've got that lovely tang, that sort of curry kind of sauce, which goes so well with the chicken. Chicken thigh, give it to me any day rather than chicken breast. I mean, it's so much nicer.
Exactly, because you don't want the dryness.
No.
The dryness comes with the breast. This is juicy and it's succulent and it sort of counteracts the crispiness of the outside.
It's brilliant. And I think, you know, people making this at home will find it so kind of rewarding because you can, as I said, you can get this katsu curry pretty much anywhere these days, but making your own. And, you know, someone who doesn't really cook at all and their go-to dish is your chicken katsu curry. you're changing the world. I mean, it's brilliant. I mean, everyone is going to be wanting to cook this dish.
Yeah, and also the fact that the sauce, it always looks like you ruined it.
Yeah.
And then you have to see it through.
Everyone's got to have their own spatula.
Yeah. Don't do this with anything metal. It has to be one of those flexible spatulas.
And a non-stick pan. And so what's next for you? I mean, presume if you've done 9 cookbooks, you can keep writing?
Yeah, I'll probably do another one. I think the £1 window's closed now.
Unfortunately,
So
yeah.
I'm going to have to reinvent myself a little bit. I do a lot of recipe development for other people, other companies, and I do a little bit of food styling.
You're quite the entrepreneur, aren't you?
Yeah. I like to stay busy, so I like to have something that's preoccupying my mind. So there's always a project that I'm involved in somehow. But I just really enjoy writing recipes, really simple recipes. So I help out brands. So, I don't know, you've got a random ingredient and you don't know how to promote it to people. The best thing you do is come up with a recipe that's easy enough that people are going to follow it, that uses your brand. And that's sort of the golden formula on the internet at the moment.
I think the thing is, when you do a recipe, you want to make sure that people they're inspired to cook it. You don't want anything that's overcomplicated. And this recipe is absolutely bang on. I think it's fantastic.
Exactly. My goal is for someone to see it and then be like, oh, I could imagine cooking that tonight. And I think I nailed it. So, yeah.
So you're pretty prolific on Instagram. You're quite the entertainer.
Yeah, a little bit of an oversharer. But I don't know, I've sort of pulled back at it. I've got kids now. So in the old days, I was filming everything. But the kids do funny things. So you sort of have the camera there or thereabouts and they'll do something funny and I'll stick that on the Instagram stories. Because the good thing is it's gone after 24 hours.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's a record of, I don't know, my daughter drinking and it all just spilling down her or something. So I just enjoy it. It's fun. I've got a really nice group of followers because they've sort of known me from the early days. They've sort of evolved with me and grown up with me, and everyone's really nice and polite and just friendly. So I've got a nice little niche in my Instagram world.
What I love about your cookbook, so going back to your cookbook, is I just love the fact that you do all the cooking, all the styling. I mean, you were telling me that you've got all the kind of cutlery and the boards and the plates. I mean, you've done everything yourself. Yeah,
so the weird thing was, because of the way I came into the industry, I didn't know how it worked. So they were like, you need to write a cookbook. And it didn't occur to me that there was such a thing as a food stylist. So I was on book 3 when I learnt about what a food stylist was, because I'd never been on a shoot or anything. So basically, they'd send a photographer around. I would go to the local supermarket, buy all the ingredients, and then cook 10 meals. And then the photographer would be in the corner of my room and just photograph each meal.
But that's how it should be. I mean, that's how I do a cookbook. I mean, you if you can't, because if you don't do that and there's someone else does it, it's not really you, is it?
Exactly. So my style isn't twirling the pasta into like little...
I hate that. I really hate that. When you have those 3 little twirls of pasta.
Exactly. And you can smell a food stylist like from a mile off when you look at the photo and you're like, that's got food styling written all over it.
But it's like styled messiness sometimes. I think, what I love about this is it's just like boom, boom, boom. Yeah. And sometimes you look at food styling and it's kind of, they've deliberately dropped things all over the table and a few nuts somewhere, just...
Exactly, yeah, I've got authentic messiness. Yeah. And then probably my top food styling tip, because I wasn't really able to use garnishes, so I couldn't use like green sort of chopped up leaves and stuff like that. Yeah. So a lot of it was a little bit of olive oil. Yeah. And a little bit of pepper, because you can see the pepper. Yeah. And that was sort of what I did for every single recipe, basically.
But it's what you do at home. I mean, you might have some olive oil or you have a bit of black pepper or something you put on top. It's authentic, which is important. And I think food should be authentic.
100%.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you. I mean, this is delicious. I'm going to finish this off in a minute, but really, what a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on The Recipe.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Recipe with me, Theo Randall. As a reminder, you can find Miguel's full recipe on Filippo Berio website at filippoberio.co.uk/Theo. And be sure to check out Miguel's £1 meal cookbooks for more ideas for budget-friendly meals. Don't forget to subscribe, follow and share the podcast wherever you listen, and join us next time as we cook up more inspiring dishes and the stories behind them. Until then, happy cooking.